Hello everyone, this is the video for the beginners part 2. 27th of March, it's very cold out there, it's about 7 degrees only and it's windy, bees are not flying. Today gonna give you more theory about the bees and beekeeping for beginners. And third video will be practical. As soon as the weather improves, we're gonna make a third video straight away. So you know contain of the hive. Now you obviously need the bees. You have to purchase the bees. The best way for beginner is to purchase not a strong colony, 11 frames, which is ready to harvest the honey. So you know what's the hive content from the first video. Now you obviously need the bees. So you have to purchase nuke of bees, and I'll show you now what the nuke means. Nuke, it's a 6 frame. I use polystyrene nukes. There's 6 frame nukes, and obviously includes the bees and the queen bee in it. It usually has 3 or 4 frames of different stage brood, from cat brood up to eggs just laid by the queen, and couple of frames of honey. That's the way the nuke comes, but it's 6 frames. So you bought the nuke and you need to transfer it into the hive, and I show you how to do it proper way. So we have 6 frames. The best way, when you pull in the frame and you're looking at the frame with the bees and you put it back in, you could put it the other way around, which is wrong. You better number the frame. It's just simply number 1, 2, 3, 6, right? And then if you turn it the other way, so you know the position is wrong. The reason for that, the bees are usually made, all the seams of the bees, they different shaped, and they make them like in your house. All the walls and everything is done, it's perfect. There's door jambs, everything's grand. If you turn it upside down, they have to rebuild it, which takes them more energy and more hassle, which they no need to do. So you better number them and put them the same way. If you're taking them off the nuke of the hive, the same way back. Don't mix them like that, because you just make the bees more unnecessary job. Most of new beekeepers, beginners, just want to purchase one nuke. And if anything happens with the queen, anything with it, either swarms or anything else, any trouble with that, you only have one colony, and you can't put some frames from the other nuke to check if there's a presence of queen. So my suggestion for you is better get 2 nukes. With 2 colonies, you always have your backup. Anything happen to one colony, you can use the frame with eggs from the other colony and rescue first colony. Otherwise, you have no choices. So now we're going to transfer these 6 frames full of bees nuke into the full size hive. So we have mesh floor, we have this open top much, and entrance block. There's bigger entrance and smaller entrance. I put that on smaller entrance, just like so. Now there is a brood box. This is the cold way. If you put frame that way, this is called cold way. I be putting them warm way. So the way you take in those frames from the hive, from the nuke, and put it into the hive, is very same position you are in here. 1, 2, 3, obviously, so you put all of them in here. then you need to extend that nuke. You need to give queen more room for to lay, because that nuke is already filled completely, so it's 2 frames of honey, 4 frames of brood, or 3.5 frames of brood, and there's no more room for queen to lay. So you have to extend it. The way to extend it properly, you shoot out last frame and last frame from both sides. So last frame out, put a new frame in here as a second frame, then your 4 frames of brood or whatever is in it, and then again your empty frame before last and last 6th frame. And then we need a dummy board, and put a dummy board in here. Don't ever put any frames in the middle, newer frames, because for large colony it's easy enough for to draw comb and carry on with all processes in the hive. With a smaller nuke, that's the only way to extend it. You, by cutting the brood in the middle, you cooling down the colony. They need more bees for to heat up to build this first. So that's the proper way to extend it. Last frame out, and frame, newer frame in the middle. Again, if you have a frames from before, if you're not really beginner, if you have drawn comb frames, I have some of them in here. When you extend in your nuke, you better put not the foundation, put drawn comb, because this colony it's weaker, it's small version of full colony, so it's a lot easier for them to use this straight away. So the queen will lay in here straight away. If you don't have it, so you might as well use this, right, the pure foundation. In about a week time or so, depends strength of your nuke, you might need to extend it more. What you do, don't go all through those frames, don't disturb the bees. Just shoot your dummy board out, look at that frame, it's usually full of honey, and look at your new frame, if it's foundation. If that foundation, if they drawn out this foundation, so you might as well put another frame. So very same situation, you shoot the last frame out, newer frame here, and the other side, last frame out and another frame, and leave them for another week or up to 10 days, depends. If that drawn, if that not drawn, so leave them for another while. And then a next inspection, another week and a half, you can pull out dummy board completely, put 11 frame, again shoot one out, always before last, and then when it's full complete 11 frames brood box, you turn that cold way, and in a little while, when they finish the last frame, this colony will be ready for harvest honey. What we're doing next, when you have extended your nuke, obviously, and have your dummy board here, I'll put my plastic with the hole, and then the feeder. Fill that feeder 200 grams of syrup. For 6 frames, 150 or 200 grams daily, not more than that. Then an empty super. Then the pillow to keep the heat, so your syrup won't go cold. And the insulated roof. Again, I have stickers here on the roof. When I'm writing on those stickers with the pencil what I've done on that hive. Job done. If there is good honey flow at the minute while you're transferring the nuke, you don't need that syrup, because it'll be too much. They're going to fill all the cells for the queen to lay with the syrup, and the queen have no room to lay. So you have to watch the weather, watch the presence of nectar coming at the moment. What happens if you don't put dummy board and just fill the rest of the space with the frames? That small colony, 6-framed nuke, only heats with the dummy board, only heats the space they required. They're not heating the space they no need for the moment because they're not so big. But if you don't use your dummy board, which is insulated, and it just keeps the room smaller, they need to heat the whole area. They're losing a lot of energy and they're rising slower. That's the main point, and it's the most common mistake the new beekeepers making. So when you expanding your nuke, it's only 2 frames at a time, not more than that. The best food for the bees is the fresh nectar and the pollen. But if you have some pollen already in the frames and there's no nectar coming, it's bad weather or something else, you better put the syrup. Otherwise your nuke will not rise, will just stay very weak. The queen could lay up to 3,000 eggs a day. It depends on the amount of feeding, of amount of nurse bees feeding the queen. If there is small amount of nurse bees, she'll be laying a lot less than 3,000 eggs. But that's her potential. Some queens could lay even more, even over 3,000 eggs a day. You stimulating queen to lay maximum eggs, and your nuke will be rising a lot quicker than if you put a lot more syrup and you only making it worse. That's the main point. So now you know how to transfer the nuke into the hive and how to extend it. The next video, as soon as the weather improves, we will make practical video. I gonna show you 2 nukes, 2 different types of bees. One will be black, the other will be bookfast. And as I said at the beginning, the best way to purchase 2 nukes. Anything happen to one, you can recover it because you have a second colony up and running. And for your own experience, if you have 2 different type of bees, or if you have the same type of bees but you do different maintenance on them, say you rise to the full colony, then you put a super on the 1 colony and you put nothing on second colony, and you will see the difference in a week time. If your brood box is full of nectar and the other colony has super full of nectar, and you can see swarming, say 1 colony will go swarming, the other one is not going to swarm. So you will find your own way how to do beekeeping properly. And one more tip, where are you going to put your bees? The best place for your apiary is wild area. It's as wild as possible. I mean, there should be no grain fields around, where or small amount of, and especially if they're using chemicals and some other stuff for spraying the crops. So the best way as wild as possible, and say if you have a river or a bit of water around, that helps as well. There's a lot of willow growing around those areas usually. So the best way as wild as possible, then you get better honey crop. So that's it for now. Hopefully the weather gonna improve in the next few days. We're gonna make practical video number 3, and bye for now.